Gay Times Book of Disturbing Stories. Northern Gothic.
Okay,
Try.
we need to fix lighting system.
Wrong.
Here.
Narrow Rooms. Frisk. Queer Fear 1 and Queer Fear 2 anthologies of gay horror fiction. And I need you to brace yourself for this cover. Steam. I'm never prepared when I pull that cover off the shelf. It doesn't quite scream horror to me, but what do I know? In queer horror, we have Boys Week, which is a graphic novel. Bad Cree, which is Canadian. Tell Me I'm Worthless. Camp Damascus. And our newest book in the library, Crafting for Sinners, because there's nothing more horrific than knitting. In trans horror, we have Manhunt, Cuckoo, What Moves the Dead, and Welcome to Dorley Hall. And last but not least, in our riot.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
6:30.
We're going to give people some time to join.
We'll go live. It said 6:30.
We're live.
Oh, are
Others
we?
in, yeah.
Oh, shit. You should have told me. I was playing TikTok. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Wearing our costumes. He's creepy whatever, and I am wearing old school Joker. Let's see.
Oh,
and the
eyes kind of glow.
Yeah. So my costume has the inside has the old Batman Joker comics inside, and then it has you can't see, it's an old Joker patch. Yeah, so simple costumes.
Simple costumes, but this is so creepy.
Yeah. We'll wait a few minutes.
So Heather, what are you wearing to Pride this year? Oh, we got this.
It's hot. Yeah. Halloween costumes are always so hot.
That mask is hot.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome.
Awesome. It's 6:30. We should start.
We'll start.
What's your ritual?
So the ritual is quite simple. We're going to light a black candle and invite the ancestors in. Where did I put the lighter at? Right here. Sorry, guys. All right. So here we go. We're lighting the candle. We invite our ancestors and our house spirits to join us on this night of All Hallows Eve.
Okay. I gotta put that somewhere away from us.
We'll keep this going. This is, by the way, is a blood candle.
Yeah, it bleeds red.
It bleeds red. It's so cool for tonight.
Yeah, but we don't have space, so it needs to go.
I'm going to put it somewhere safe so we don't start a fire and really have an exciting night.
So today we're telling spooky things, and I need BC high strangeness stories, and I've got a little bit of info. Okay, so where we go. So where we go.
I'll put my mask on.
According to Chris Rutkowski, he's a Canadian ufologist. He claims there's 1,000 UFO reports filed every year in Canada. In 2017, there was 1,101 total sightings, which comes about 3 per day. Quebec, Ontario, and BC in that order are the top highest UFO reports. In 1980, Lisa Nidal saw a boomerang object in the sky gliding from the mountains. She said says it did a 90-degree turn and went straight up and just disappeared.
That's
If our
cool.
three most famous, or let's see, what else am I gonna do?
Everyone kind of knows about
Yeah,
Taylor Granger. So.
Granger Taylor.
Granger Taylor. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I found new stuff. We'll start with our friend's book. I closed this out and I need
Shout
to
out Brennan store of Ghost Story
A Strange Little Place. This is available. It's pretty cheap. And it's a really good high strangeness book. Okay, so let's do Gremlins. Ooh, I've got two really good ones, but we're gonna start with his stuff. So, Revelstoke has Gremlins. So okay.
And speaking of Gremlins,
Oh yeah,
we have Green Goblin cocktails.
mocktails.
They're mocktails. So I can't drink through the mask, so I'm going to take this up.
We may be stripping down some of these costumes. They're hot.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is pressing on my face. So we'll see how long this lasts. All right. I've had Gremlin for years. I just figured you can't get rid of them. As far as belief in the supernatural goes, Roma Sutherland is Mary Dean's diametric opposite. She has never seen a ghost. Viewed an unexplainable light in the sky, or until her experience with gremlins encountered any phenomena you might class as supernatural. As such, it never occurred to her that the electrical problems she experienced after moving into a new home with her boyfriend, Andrew, starting with a faulty porch light, were anything other than bad wiring and worse luck. It was really weird, she recalls. At first, the lights on the porch weren't working. Then all of a sudden, the plug-ins where the TV was, and then my microwave and computer. After several electricians had come and gone without finding the source of the malfunctions, Sutherland was stuck for answers the day she complained about the problem to her friend Nancy. So each new phase is one step away from where your porch is, Nancy asked. Sutherland realized that was in fact the case and told her so. Go put milk out by your front door, said Nancy. You've got gremlins. It was the first time Sutherland had ever laughed in a friend's face. No, I don't. Nancy was firm. Yes, you do, she said. They obviously moved in with one of you. Try it. You'll see. The friends left it at that, but Sutherland's troubles soon wore her down, and she placed a saucer of milk outside the front porch, just ahead of the faulty porch light. Not wanting Andrew to ask any questions, she hid the saucer behind a potted plant and waited. Within a couple of days, everything was back to normal. She still won't quite admit that what took place in her house happened because of small shadow people, gremlins, or anything to that effect, but she won't deny it either. Andrew was much less surprised by the chain of events. When she hesitantly told him what she had done, his answer caught her off guard. Yeah, I've had gremlins around for years, he said. I just figured you can't get rid of them. So that's in Revelstoke on the mainland BC in the mountains.
Typical Fae story.
Yeah.
Where you give them milk and honey, and they start acting a little better and helping you out rather than hindering you.
Yeah. Let's see, where are we else? We got.
I hope I don't scare people with this mask.
Whatever, it's Halloween. Okay. Oh, and next one we're going to talk about Holton House. So I need to go back. Go there. Okay. Because this is really interesting, and I definitely It's okay. Harper haunts 4th Street Moss. Here we go. Okay. So this is Holton House, and these are my notes from when I read the book. I did a little bit more digging. And it's in Revelstoke again. It was built by Charles Holton. Born Carl Holtengren was 3 years old when he and his family emigrated from Sweden aboard the Albion in 1869. They arrived in New York and settled in South Bend, Minnesota. His birth date varies on documents, making him hard to track, and went by Charles Holden, Chas Holden, and Charles Holton. Claims to have arrived in Canada in 1884. An 1887 census shows a Charles Holton in Skagit County, Washington. July 1980, Charles Holton was remanded to McNeil Island Penitentiary for selling alcohol and tribal lands to indigenous people. August 4th, 1890s, Charles Holton, Thomas Downs, Peter Walker, and Lockery MacDonald arrived in Revelstoke to prospect for gold. They made their way to Lardoo region near Trout Lake. Their claim became the infamous Silver Cup mine, one of the richest and most productive mines in the area. 1895, the man sold a mine and returned wealthy. After selling the mine, Charles married Eliza Edwards Lida and built the Holton House in her honor. Now, Lida's family is where it gets interesting. So she was born Eliza Victoria Silcott in Youngsville, Ohio. Her father, in 1897, her father, Craven Silcott, lost the race in 1879 for Adams County Auditor. It was a legendary bitter contest. John P. Leadham was his greatest supporter, and they did become good friends. When Leadham's tie in Congress ended and he was given the job of Sergeant at Arms of the House, he convinced Silcott to join him in the Capitol as his cashier and chief accountant. Once in D.C., he became addicted to the horse track and began an affair with a mistress, Louise Thibault. November 30th, 1899, Silcott defaulted $75,000 from the house and fled D.C., abandoning his family and leaving Leadham disgraced. Sometime later, a reporter found him at the home of Louise Thibault's parents in Terrebonne, Quebec. 1891, Silcott disappeared and his family relocated to New Westminster, BC. A census stated they were lodging with the hotel keeper, Charles Edwards. The family took his surname and he followed them to Revelstoke in 1894. In 1897, he succumbed to the flu and his death certificate gives him the same age as Silcott would be. It's likely Silcott was hiding as Edwards. So, lot to unpack there. So now I'm going to read, and most of that research was by Brennan. So let's see where we got. Page 37. Yeah, this mask is pressing on my face.
So some spooky stories about things that happened here. There was a series of Ripper murders back in 1899, just after the Ripper murders ended in London. And an agent was brought in by the name of Agent 5. There was never any name given for him. So if you guys, any of you guys have information about that case, the Victoria, BC Ripper murders, please send it my way. I'm doing research for an episode on it, and it's a fascinating, very macabre story.
So let's see. I read all that. I broke it down. Okay, so I'm just going to read the story that I wrote the page on because I can't. So this is just one of many stories of the Holton House. It's not known how far back the haunting of Holton House stretches, but according to Mary Vickers, who spent her formative years among ghosts in the house on the bank, the spirits were already active in the 1950s. This would have been in the early 1950s, she recalls. I was in elementary school, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Us kids used to love to go and visit Drenham Holton. He'd always have donuts for us. At the time, Drennan Holton was in his mid-50s and living in the house with his older brother Charles, or Chuck, a taciturn man of whom Mary says the neighborhood kids were far less fond. Chuck, we didn't like him too much. He was just creepy, she recalls. He had piercing eyes that would look right through you. You felt like he had nothing on when he looked at you. Drennan worked out of town with my father, and sometimes they would drink beer together at one of their houses. Chuck would never carry on a conversation. He would come to get Drennan, and all he would say is, "Come home." He was never a sociable guy. Drennan, on the other hand, was apparently a good-natured man who enjoyed having the kids around. In our house, we had a ghost we called Casper, and Drennan liked to say that Casper had come to visit him. He liked pulling our leg. Mary says the home was grand even then, though it was beginning to slide into dilapidation around the two bachelors. The furniture was so fantastic, remembers Mary. It was right out of Gone with the Wind. But the brothers didn't give a damn about it. They just wrecked it. It was so neat. The Victorian furniture, the wood, the upholstery, it was gorgeous. Right out of a movie. The house would remain in this deteriorated condition until the 1970s, when ownership passed from the Holton family to that of the Wilsons, who would renovate the home and raise their children there before eventually selling to Dolores in 1990. Like so many others, Mary Vickers' supernatural encounter in the Holton house centered on the stairs. Every time my sister Barbara and I went to visit, we had a donut, says Mary. Then we had to go upstairs, down the hall, and down to the back stairs to the kitchen because we wanted to see if we could see something. Before climbing the stairs, Barbara would grab Marlene's hand. She was never chicken of anything, says Mary, but in Drenman's house, she was chicken. We both were. We got scared every time. She'd always make me go first, and of course I would because I'd want to see if we could find something. But it was always just the feeling of a presence, like the hair was going up on the back of your neck. The Vickers sisters did not see a spirit in Holton House, but Mary is certain it was there, hiding just ahead and out of sight. It was almost, she says, like whatever it was expecting us to come up there. Jenna Walker, a frequent visitor to Holton House, agrees. We spent a lot of time there as kids when it was a group home for people with diverse abilities. Weird stuff happened all the time. Doors would slam upstairs when everyone was downstairs. The TV would change channels. There was no remote. We'd always hear people talking in the attic or the help stairs. My youngest sister was 3 or 4 back then and always talked to the people. We never figured out who those people were.
You might hear some fireworks. They were
Okay.
letting them off.
I gotta take this off. This is I love this mask, but it's pressing on my face. So I gotta take off that mask. Oh, need the feeling to come back to my face. Oh, I need to get, there's some really nice leather ones made. All right, let's see where we're gonna go. So we're gonna read the Orange Triangle. This is one of the biggest major events in Revelstoke. All right.
You want your drink?
It's right here. All right. Oh, that's better. Sorry, I just cannot keep that costume on. All right. The Orange Triangle. White lights, blue sparks, and an indistinct brick-like object disappearing into a point of light. These are only a handful of the unusual phenomena observed in the skies above Revelstoke since 1950. Their strangeness aside, the only things that they have in common is an apparent uniqueness. That is, each phenomena has been observed, or at least reported, only once. This uniformity makes the orange triangle even more an anomaly than might ordinarily be considered. The orange triangle is almost exactly that, a series of moving orange lights in a triangle formation that have been seen in the night sky above Revelstoke on at least 2 occasions, once in 2010 and again in 2011. Both times, witnesses reported seeing the lights well above the tops of nearby mountains, and both times the sightings were followed by reports of a military presence, raising the question of whether the orange triangle is a man-made phenomena or unusual enough that it has attracted the attention of Canada's Department of National Defense. The experiences of the first witnesses of the orange triangle raise another question as well. Are reports of strange lights in the sky also linked to occurrences of supernatural activity? Story 1. We figured it was just a trick with the trees. On the night of March 2nd, 2010, friends Rose Janowitz and Edna Bell were driving west toward Revelstoke on Highway 1 when they noticed what happened to be a white light in the sky ahead of them. It was an oddly bright light flashing on and off quite high in the sky, says Edna, who was sitting in the passenger seat. We figured it was just a trick with the trees. Not long after spying the light, she noticed a young girl standing by the side of the road ahead. I saw her clear as day, Edna remembers. She had a pink winter jacket, black tight pants, a blonde ponytail, and a stare that creeped me right out. When Edna pointed out the girl to Rose, the child vanished, but Edna rejects the idea that what she saw was a product of her imagination. I first saw a girl standing in the ditch in my peripheral vision, she says. When I told Rose about her, she disappeared. As is often the case with such inexplainable events, the two quickly put the disappearing girl out of their heads and focused on the flashing light above Revelstoke. Upon entering town, the two found a pull-out area near the side of the road with an unobstructed view of the sky from which to observe the display. It was well above the mountains, remembers Bell, but rather than being west of us like it was previously when we were coming toward the town, it was more south, as if it were hovering above the town. The pair also observed the light had increased in size. After several minutes, the women left Revelstoke and continued their journey west, stopping again to watch the sky at a clearing not far out of town. By this point, the white light had become elongated, almost into an hourglass shape, and was joined by 2 other more spherical beacons. I saw the bright object with 2 orange lights with it now, says Bell. One of them was above the white light and one below. These new arrivals also flickered at seemingly random intervals. The lights then changed formation, moving into a triangle shape before the white light disappeared from view. Getting back into the car, Bell and Janowitz continued west for a few minutes more until their curiosity demanded they make another stop. This time they pulled off the highway at a vantage point high above the tree line, with a clear view of the starless night sky. Over the years, some who claim to have seen strange lights over Revelstoke have been confused the headlamps of snowmobiles on the mountainside for something more mysterious, but Bell dismisses this explanation. The lights, were well above any mountaintops in the area, she says. Rose told Edna she had caught sight of a 4th light again white, to the southwest of the elongated one shortly before it disappeared. Just as she was pointing out its location, the elongated light again appeared in the sky, this time almost double its previous size. While we were watching, says Edna, the top orange light moved nearly instantaneously from its 45-degree position relative to the other one to a position nearly straight above it. The 2 women watched for some time afterward, noting that all 4 lights would flicker, but only the white ones would disappear for any length of time. Stranger than everything they had observed was the feeling experienced by both as they witnessed the unusual lights. It felt like someone was pumping 100 million volts through my body, recalls Edna. It felt so strange and energizing that we both barely even noticed the next hour. She goes on to describe this positive buzz as lasting well into the next day when they returned to Alberta. It was on this return journey the two women claimed to have seen numerous military-looking vehicles while passing back through Revelstoke, itself allegedly hemmed in by thick fog that began 1 kilometer before the town and ended 1 kilometer after, rising to a height of some 200 meters. There were no markings at all on them, says Edna, but they were painted in the distinct military green. The pair also claimed to have seen what they described as a tractor trailer pulling away equipment painted in the same style as the unmarked trucks. Edna recognized what she believed to be 2 enormous generators on the trailer, along with other unrecognizable hardware. East of Revelstoke, the pair claimed to have been passed by 3 Chevy Tahoe SUVs, all with government-marked Alberta license plates. On the long drive home, both women say they observed several such license plates on a variety of high-end automobiles, always traveling in groups of 3. Their last sighting of these vehicles was on the section of Highway 2 between Airdrie and Innisfail, Alberta, in which they claimed to have seen 18 of the northbound Chevy Tahoe SUVs with similar license plates. As the two women left the highway in Innisfail, we can only speculate as to where the government vehicles were headed, but the Canadian Forces base at Cold Lake, Alberta, some 5 hours north, seems a likely guess. An access to information request submitted to the Canadian Department of National Defence did confirm a military presence in Revelstoke on March 2nd, 2010. However, rather than have anything to do with lights in the sky, documentation provided indicates the armed forces were in town to help the community commemorate the 1910 Rogers Pass avalanche, which killed 58 railroad workers. Ugh. 2 days, the second story. 2 days later, we heard jets. One evening in October 2011, 2 people, Revelstoke resident Tim Bunker and a friend who asked not to be identified in any way, were traveling east toward Revelstoke on Highway 1 when they spotted a series of strange lights in the night sky. The pair were 4.5 kilometers west of town, near the Great White North Bar and Grill, when they observed a trio of bright, circular orange lights arranged in what Tim described as an equilateral triangle above the peak of Mount Cartier. Tim pulled his vehicle off the road to observe the phenomenon. It was about the size of the windshield, he remembers. The lights sat there and didn't move, at least not at first. A light rain on the roof of their SUV was the only sound as Tim and his friend watched the 3 orbs hanging motionless in the sky. Suddenly, the light at the bottom right of the triangle traveled upward, almost instantaneously, to join the light at the top, and all 3 lights blinked before disappearing. After the disappearance of the light, the pair sat stunned, trying to understand what they had just seen. We didn't really know what to think, says Tim. Sometimes you see a light coming off Cartier, but it's just the headlamp on a snowmobile. This wasn't that. 2 of these lights were below the peak of the mountain, but the third was above it. The 2 friends resolved to put the incident out of their minds and returned to Revelstoke. 2 days later, Tim was enjoying a cigarette outside his home when he heard the unmistakable sound of jets overhead, flying above the cloud cover. It was about 8:30 or 9 when I heard them, he remembers. Sometimes at night you can hear the sound of jetliners flying, but these were 3 or 4 low-altitude passes by fighter planes. Though the sound of jet fighters passing overhead isn't completely unheard of in the Revelstoke area, Tim believes the timing of this particular flight, coming as it did only 2 days after sighting the Orange Triangle, was no coincidence. What I think, says Tim, is they were investigating whatever it is we saw. Like the story above, an access to information request about military presence in the Revelstoke area during Tim's sighting was made to the Ministry of Defense, but there was no record of any such action. In an interesting coda to this story, Tim's recollection of the event remains strong, but his friend has found it harder and harder to remember what took place.
stories like this happen all the time. They happen in Nova Scotia too. The Shag Harbor incident. My dad was actually driving on the highway when it went down. And he remembers hearing the tearing of metal, and then something went into the water, and then they all saw a glowing green substance come to the surface.
Yeah.
And then the military was there within 45 minutes and cleaning up the scene and basically telling everyone to go home. UFOs are prevalent here in particular. That's like 10 to 1 for all paranormal type stories here. But Victoria is also an eggshell of fault lines, and so it creates opportunities for things to happen. All of that EMF and energy coming from the fault lines could be affecting people, causing them to see things, and that's just as valid as actually seeing an object in the sky.
I think aliens are terrestrial. I think it has something to do with geologic activity.
Could they be?
Yeah. But it might be that because Michael Persinger's work, it could be that the geological activity makes us more sensitive to see things that we may not normally see. So, is it the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Definitely some balls of light or geological activity that we don't understand yet.
Yeah.
But a freaking orange triangle like that, I don't know what that is. But I don't believe in extraterrestrials. I believe in terrestrials.
But there is an argument to say that they could be ultra terrestrials.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, we got to read the Eighth Tower.
Yeah.
We haven't read it yet. We read Mothman Prophecies, but
yeah,
or I have.
I've read bits and pieces. I have to commit to reading the whole thing. I've been reading a lot of magical texts and whatnot the last little while. So that and a rather macabre one on the use of human skin to create.
Yeah, but that one just
books.
went back to the library. So
I read through good 3/4 of it.
we definitely have to do that for book club. Yeah. All right. So next is Rogers Pass. It's a pass that was originally built for the railroad, and a lot of people have passed away on that pass because it's just where it is. It's prone to avalanches and landslides and just incredibly dangerous. So this is the last one we're going to read of this book. But definitely pick up A Strange Little Place. Nathan Paul Isaac was talking about haunted landscapes, and Revelstoke is definitely a haunted place. And I've done some research. They are if you think of how fast UFOs move, they are a hop, skip, and a jump west of the Continental Divide, and those mountains range are a weird place. So, something about the Continental Divide, because when you follow it, there's all kinds of weird places around it. So definitely those mountains are a little bit strange. So, and Brennan has so many more bizarre stories about the area. We can't really tell any because some he's told us are like
In confidence.
in confidence and include people stories, names that they don't want to be talked about. But definitely, if you have read his book, and if you have any questions, Ghost Story Guys podcast is his podcast. He has an email for there.
And Fear Daily.
Fear Daily is really fun. If you like the old Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, that kind of stuff, Fear Daily's really got those vibes, and it's really good.
And if you're into high strangeness, look up Liminal Lodge and
Pennyroyal. Pennyroyal. Liminal Lodge is the Patreon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to read Rogers Pass. Prior to 1882, the area now known as Rogers Pass, a steep avalanche-prone passage through the Selkirk Mountains some 40 miles east of Revelstoke, was largely unexplored. When, in 1881, the Canadian Pacific Railway decided to run tracks south through the Rocky Mountains, it became necessary to find a safe route through the treacherous terrain, and Major A.B. Rogers, an American railway location engineer, was chosen for the task. Rogers trekked through that unforgiving country the following year, plotting out a route that, while not risk-free, was the safest possible at the time. Construction on the line began in 1883. Opening in 1885, the newly christened Rogers Pass immediately became the most dangerous part of Canada's transcontinental railway. Between 1883 and 1911, the region's avalanche claimed more than 250 lives. To put that in perspective, since 1782, Canada has recorded a total of 702 avalanche-related fatalities. The section of the pass between Chops Mountain and Avalanche Mountain is the infamous site of the deadliest avalanche in Canadian history and the second deadliest in the history of North America. The 1910 Rogers Pass avalanche, when a frozen section of mountain swept down from Avalanche Peak and buried 58 men under 33 feet of snow and ice. It is also here in this remote place where people have encountered some of the most frightening phenomena reported in the Revelstoke area. So, I believe there is a museum and a visitor center there. There's nowhere to stay anymore, I don't think. So it's one of those, you'll have to just time it. Mainland BC, once you leave Vancouver, can become very rural. So you have to really plan where you're going in your time. Unless you have like an RV or camper. Canada's pretty chill outside of the cities about
camping,
parking off the road and stuff like that. Just because there just isn't enough like rest areas and rest stops and stuff, and a lot of the truck stops have these sketchy ass little hotels, but it's a room for a night. So
there's also on the side of the road, there's places where they've extended it out a bit, so it will be a safe place for truckers and people to stop and get a couple hours of sleep while they wait to start traveling again in the morning. Truck drivers I think they're only allowed to go for 8 to 12 hours before they're required to stop and rest. So they create these little pull-off areas for them.
Yeah. So, all right. The Rogers Pass Fireball. In the moments leading up to the Rogers Pass Fireball, there was no indication to the few present that this still winter night was different from any other. Temperatures hovered around freezing on the morning of December 18th, 1997, as 3 two-man CPR crews, Canadian Pacific Rail, 2 aboard trains, and 1 headed home to Revelstoke in a taxi watched the night sky erupt. Excuse me. Chocolate. Even some 15 years later, witnesses to the Roger Pass fireball were reluctant to discuss the details of the incident. I haven't talked about it since it happened, says one man who refused to say anything else in the record. And I don't want to start now. What details have emerged tell of a booming sound that followed by the appearance of an enormous yellow ball of light crackling with what appeared to be electricity streaking across the canyon, says one source. All of a sudden, the sky went like daylight, bright daylight, and this big yellow ball slowly went over the valley. The fireball, which made no sound after its initial appearance, was then said to stop its progress and hover above the valley for 10 full seconds before finally disappearing behind Mount Sir Donald in the southeast. While in the broad strokes, the Revelstoke fireball shares characteristics with bolides, particularly large and bright meteors entering Earth's atmosphere, these typically disappear in a matter of seconds, whereas the Revelstoke fireball endured for almost a full minute. Additionally, this is not the first time such a phenomena has been reported. On March 9th, 1957, a Pan Am flight bound from New York for San Juan, Puerto Rico, narrowly avoided collision with what described as a big fireball advancing with tremendous speed with a roaring sound. Though reports of the Pan Am encounter do not suggest any kind of intelligence behind the sudden, mysterious conflagration, and other fireballs observed throughout history are often attributed to some as yet unknown feature of the natural world, witnesses to the Revelstoke fireball are almost certain there were more than environmental factors at work. I don't know what it was, says another witness who claimed the light was so intense that other drivers on the highway began to swerve in shock, but I felt like it was looking at us. So I really I don't think if it was a meter, it had to be a bizarre meter because of the electricity thing. It could be that if it's made of something that it created like an electrical current around itself.
It's possible. It could be plasma.
Yeah. So very interesting. And then I also wanted to say this because there's missing time. Missing time. Though what follows is the only story of missing time to come out of the Revelstoke area, it is far from unique. Missing time episodes are a staple of paranormal lore, usually associated with the field of ufology and cited by true believers as proof of extraterrestrial abduction. While that may seem fantastical, the circumstances surrounding episodes of missing time seem to defy all current understandings of time and space, making it understandable why the first explanation people reach for is literally out of this world. It begins with silence. While there have been reported instances of group missing time events, it is most common among those who are alone. The person, be they traveling or at home, experiences a momentary disorientation, then observes that a significant amount of time has passed. Anywhere from minutes to hours, and in extreme cases, days. Several things.
Some loud people going by.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the young people that get drunk and go on Halloween. Anyways, several things differentiate this from simple sleep. The first being that, aside from disorientation and a feeling of returning, as though from a general anesthetic, the person experiences no fatigue, dreams, or any other sign of sleep. Second, the episodes often occur while subjects are in motion, driving, walking, etc., without any loss of motor control. Third, and perhaps most bizarrely, people who have experienced missing time also tend to wake up in different places than where their initial disorientation occurred. Some people even report waking to find they traveled a far greater distance than should have been possible, given the time elapsed during their fugue. Those who have undergone episodes of lost time are often reluctant to discuss their experiences, and while they may not dream during the event, it is extremely common to dream afterward. Often these dreams are not pleasant, as Henry Talbot would discover. So, I think this is the other one where, this is the other story that I actually put in the Liminal Lodge's missing time report, that I'm the only person that contributes to it. So, Yeah, I know how they feel because I was put under for the last major dental thing I have. And with ADHD, when you're given an IV sedation, you have total blackout memory. And it is a very
disconcerting.
it's a very not great feeling just having lost moments of your life. So and missing time with high strange reports is absolutely terrifying because you're usually moving. And I have another story that we'll talk about that's got a weird like cryptid thing, and they were going 70 miles an hour on a mountain road. Like that's terrifying.
That's terrifying, yeah.
So I think this is the last story that we're going to do out of Brendan's. So, Nightmare Lights. When he left his Golden, British Columbia home for Revelstoke on the night of October 5th, 2002, Henry Talbot was no stranger to the winding 150-kilometer section of Highway 1 that connected the two towns via Rogers Pass. I had left about 9 p.m. driving alone, he told UFO reporting site UFO BC. Having driven the route many times, and usually at night, I expected to arrive in Revelstoke before 10:30 p.m. The danger inherent in traversing Rogers Pass didn't end with the coming of the railroad, even for those accustomed to the trip. Since the highway's completion in 1962, there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of fatalities on its many curves and bends. One 8-kilometer section just outside of Golden is home to 36 curves, including infamous School Bus Corner, where in 1990 a bus crash killed 2 young girls and injured 28. So we've been on we've been in the Highway 1. We didn't go to Revelstoke. We went towards Vancouver, but you're going the same route for a bit.
Yeah.
So you have mountain on one side, the road, then mountain on the other. And so we stopped at the Husky to have breakfast, and before we headed on to Vancouver, we stayed in Hope. Or we stayed in Golden. Yes.
Yeah, we stayed in Golden.
And the old guy was like, I just want you guys to be careful. We just had a fatality just like the week before. The mountain goats will come down the mountain and jump across the road and then go down again. And so people actually get hit by them or swerve and
end up going down the side of the mountain.
And then it's really intimidating going down the highway because they close parts of the highway for the avalanches and landslides. And there is the really bad areas, they have covers for the tunnels for you to pass. It's a very intimidating part of the road. So they have expanded the road where they can. The problem is it's mountains, and so there's not much they can do.
No, it's
so be careful.
Very limited.
Yeah, so very deadly part of BC. As he set out that fall evening, Talbot knew that despite his familiarity, he would have to be careful on his journey west, and it is this heightened awareness that calls into question more mundane explanations of the following events. The first 20 to 30 minutes of Talbot's journey were uneventful. The weather had been mild over the last few days, and the highway was bare. It is from this point on that events take a strange turn. There is a point on the eastern side of Rogers Pass where, if you're heading west, the highway runs straight for a stretch, then takes a sweeping turn to the right, says Talbot. It then begins to climb towards the summit, passing through snow sheds, concrete tunnels built over highways to deflect avalanches on the way up. As he approaches the turn, Talbot observed what appeared to be taillights of a semi-truck disappearing around the curve. Next thing I know, says Talbot, I feel like I'm lost. The road seems unfamiliar. Level and even a little downhill, not the steep climb to Rogers Pass I was expecting to find around the corner. Disoriented, Talbot checked his dashboard clock. The car clock showed that it's a little before 11 p.m., and that makes me all the more confused. Then I passed a sign that says Revelstoke is only a few kilometers away. Talbot was then able to place his location, but was at a loss to explain how, given the attention he had been paying the road. he had traveled more than 100 kilometers without realizing it. I do remember driving through any of the snow sheds on the way up or down. Or I do not remember driving through any of the snow sheds on the way up or down, he says. How could I not remember even one of them? I don't remember driving through Rogers Pass Summit, where I'm normally very aware of road and weather conditions, not to mention the bright lights and speed zones. Initially, Talbot blamed fatigue for the gaps in his memory, but the explanation was an uneasy one. I said to myself, who hasn't driven a familiar route and not remembered parts of it, he explains, but I still wondered how I could have forgotten so much, almost the entire trip, and how it was I ended up more than 30 minutes behind schedule. As he left his Revelstoke hotel the next morning, Talbot found his memory of the previous night's events as hazy as before, but the gaps bothered him less, at least consciously. I still feel like that something about my trip wasn't right, but it seemed very distant, he says. For some reason, I also felt as though I would be happier not having to travel that route again. In the years since that night, Talbot has done his best to abide by that mysterious feeling, taking that particular stretch of Highway 1 only once more in 2005. I traveled that road once more with the passenger at midday and keeping other traffic in sight at all times, he remembers. I felt very uneasy on the stretch of road below Rogers Pass. Though over the years he may have physically returned to Rogers Pass only once, Talbot has found himself mentally returning again and again to that night in 2002. I have often had dreams about the trip, the parts of it that I remember, he says, as if I'm driving it over and over. One dream in particular has come to haunt him more than any other. And in one dream, I'll watch the lights of the semi-truck ahead as it begin to go around the corner. Suddenly, the lights reverse direction and with a second or so close the distance and fly over my car. I'm leaning forward in the driver's seat, craning my neck to look upward through the windshield, where I see a single large red light a few feet above my car. I'm suddenly filled with terror, and I feel like I can't breathe. I begin hyperventilating and try to cry out for help, but only make hoarse squeaking sounds. Then I wake up. Though he's not convinced that this nightmare is any more than exactly that, and he has no concrete explanation for his fear, Henry Talbot still cannot bear the thought of driving Rogers Pass again. I do not want to be on that road, he says, and I don't really understand why.
That sounds like a classic UFO abduction scenario.
It makes me wonder if his clothes were on in the right way and stuff. I forgot I was going to turn on the anomalous app. So we have a new app that we're beta testing for Nathan Paul Isaac. And I wanted to do some of that while we were doing that. So we're going to do this. I'm going to do this one. And we're going to do this one. Okay. We're just going to have that on while we...
So you're going to hear tones.
Yeah. That's, so the celestial instrument, it's really going. Okay, I got to stop that for a minute so I can, so Celestial Keys, this is an app. The Celestial Keys instrument utilizes both ancient musical knowledge and modern quantum physics to create a unique divination tool. It translates subtle energetic fluctuations in your environment into harmonic tones based on carefully selected musical scales. When the randomness detector identifies an anomaly that crosses either upper or lower threshold, the instrument provides musical tone from selected scale. These tones can form patterns that reveal insights, messages, or energetic signatures from some subtle realms. So, I'm going to turn that back on.
So keep in mind, we did invite the spirits in with us today. So we could have some communication with them later.
I really I hope my fur baby is here. He comes to visit.
Yep.
Which we need to put out a little saucer or something for him tonight.
Yes.
So missed that. All right. So we want this one. Yeah. So as you can see, I've got
ton of spots.
I need to get my
Need your glasses?
No, I just needed a drink. A proper drink. Okay, so I need to find that's the UFO or that. All right. This is a really good one I found today. Oh, this is from True Canadian UFO Stories by John Robert Colombo. He writes a ton of Canadian books. He's not just paranormal, but he's written a lot of paranormal. And he just kind of collects it. A lot of this is from reports, but some people, because he's a well-known author, some people write him letters with stories. So this is a giant lizard with wings. So now, with thanks also to Prince George radio station CJCI for its taped interview with one of the men referred to as X in the highway incident, and to the Adrian Radford for serving as helpful contact person, we carry the story of these remarkable northern sightings, realizing there will almost certainly will be more. So wrote former Ottawa newspaper correspondent John Magor in Canadian UFO Report, summer 1977, about the so-called highway incident. This is a reference to a specific sighting amid a series of sightings of UFOs reported in the summer of 1976 from the vicinity of Prince George, British Columbia. Magor went on to reproduce the transcript of the station's interview with the truck driver who reported the strange encounter with an alien vehicle and its occupant. The experience even involves a less conscious over a measurable period, a syndrome that has come to be known as missing time. The driver is identified as X. In the subsequent issue of Canadian UFO Report, winter to spring 1978, Magor, with permission, identified the informant as supermarket employee Kirk Allure. The episode occurred on Highway 16 between Prince George and Vanderhoof, as Allure was en route to Fort St. James on the early morning of July 5th. I am reproducing here with the slight editing the transcript of the interview, followed by the substance of Magor's subsequent interview with Allure. So the first one is just a straight up interview, and the second one is kind of like just a written report. I'm going to read both because the written report has a couple of details that isn't in the interview. So X is the experiencer and Q is the interviewee. X. About a mile before it happened, I looked at my watch and it was about 10 past 4. I was coming onto this straight stretch and I noticed this red light in the sky. And I noticed this car coming towards me. Our cars were about 300 yards apart when this red light dropped right out of the sky and started coming up towards me. In panic, I swerved and almost immediately this light was right on me and lit up the interior of my truck. My motor went dead and my radio went dead and I passed out. About 4:30, a guy was shaking me and said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yes." Then he said, "A strange thing happened. I woke up outside my car." Then what am I doing here? I was on the passenger side of my truck and our cars were no more than 2 feet apart and there were no skid marks. And he said he passed out too and his motor went all crazy and then died out. Q, could you describe the object you saw? X, to me, it looked like a giant lizard with wings, and it was little over 1.5 times the size of the road width. Q, did the object look foreign or like something we could build here on Earth? X, I don't think it was like anything we could build. That's how strange it looked, and that's what scared me. It didn't look like anything I'd seen before, except maybe the lizard part. That's about the only thing I could relate it to. Q, did it have wings? X, yes, it did. They looked like frog legs spread out with that gap in them. Q, do you remember seeing engines? X, I don't remember anything like that, but maybe on the back there was something. It was a round thing. Q, what shape was the body? X, it was oblong, and the outer surface reminded me of alligator skin. It was rough looking. On top there was a dome, and that's where the light was coming from. Q, do you have a record of passing out? X, no, I've never fainted before in my life. Q, what sort of feeling did you have when you passed out in the car? X, I felt as if there were a bunch of pins in me, and then I sort of went into nothing. The last thing I remember was my motor dying, my radio going funny, and seeing the sky not more than 100 yards away and heading straight for me. I was doing at least 70 miles per hour. I remember putting my foot on the brake, but there were no skid marks. Q, had you been drinking? X, no, not a bit. I had even pulled over to the side of the road farther south and had 2 or 3 hours sleep. So I was wide awake and had the radio on full blast. Q, do you believe in UFOs? X, I do now. I didn't before, but I do now.
That whole scenario, it's quite interesting, and the app is going.
Yeah, I'm going to turn that down a little bit so we can just hear it because it's distracting.
It is distracting. Sorry, guys. But
actually, I think I'm going to turn it off because it's distracting, and we'll ask Ashtar some questions later.
So Ashtar is.
Oh yeah, it's not Ashtar the cult. It's Ashtar LLM, and it's Nathan Paul Isaac and Darian West.
Yeah.
And they built it, and it's filled with high strangeness reports. Not a lot of Canadian yet, but I've been kind of bugging him. Like, I can help. Can you put some more Canadian? But he also it'll like detect entropy in your GPS, so it's an interesting tool to play with.
Yeah.
So this is just the report that's just written into a more nicer story. I came around a corner on the way from Prince George and noticed a red light about a mile away to my right above some hydro towers. I just kept driving on and looking at it, and then I saw a car coming. It was about half a mile away. Then I noticed this red light move. I kept staring at it and just sort of shot right up over the top of the oncoming car. I just stared at it in amazement. Then it shot towards me when the oncoming car was about 300 yards away, and it was huge. It took up about 2 highway widths, and at that instant, the red light lit up the interior of my cab, and I got strange sensations. Like my arms fell asleep and my legs fell asleep, and then they felt like pins and needles. Then I swerved and missed this thing because it was coming right towards me. It all happened so fast, I just don't remember anything after. I sort of blacked out, I guess. According to our watches, it was 15 minutes later or so, making it about 4:30 a.m., and this guy was opening my door and shaking me. He was asking if I was all right. I said, yes, I'm okay, I guess. But I was sort of sick at that moment. It was aching all over. My arms and everything were sore. Our cars were about 2 feet apart. He said, a strange thing happened to me. I was outside my car when I came to. We could find no skid marks, and I was doing at least 70 miles an hour when I swerved into his lane. We went to the hospital in Vanderhoof, both of us, and they checked us over, and there was apparently just shock. That's all it was. I never did get the other guy's name. Asked for a description of the object, Kirk replied, it was oblong. The outer shell looked more or less like alligator skin. It had little protruding wings, except they were rounded. Underneath, between the wings, it had a circular thing, like an electric razor. You know, the discs? That's what it had underneath. One turning slowly inside the other, which was turning the other way. It had a dome on top with different colored lights inside. Green, red, yellow, blue, all like little dots. Then it just had one straight beam of light when it shone the red light in my truck. I could see everything in great detail.
I would really like to get in touch with that person and see.
Good luck. I don't think
it's from quite a while ago. They're more likely gone now, but
yeah, I don't know when this was even printed. 2004.
Yeah, it's a while ago.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a crazy one. And then so this is a crazy report. So this is just north of us on 50-minute bus away, 20-minute drive away, in Sydney, British Columbia. And there's some farms out there. So this could be Saanich or Sydney, and it says Sydney, and there's a couple farms in Sydney, but you always hear about crop circles, but you don't hear about someone watching it happen. And this woman watched it happen. So I was like, I gotta talk about this story. So from Sydney, British Columbia. All right. My experience happened about 6 years ago in a meadow being grown for hay. I think about 10 acres. It was in the middle of May, as the grass was nearly 2 feet high as far as I can remember. We hay here earlier than in England. I was walking along the headland with my dog. Everything was silent about me, blue sky and sun, when this almighty bang came and my dog jumped, wondering what on earth was happening. It was a much louder bang than a gun. I have belonged to a shooting club for years, so I know what they sound like. The grass was going around in clockwise direction, banging and cracking, and the grass was as wild as could be. I thought it would be torn out by the roots. We stood there and watched, only 8 meters from where we were. With the blink of an eye, shall we say, there was dead silence, all as quiet as before, no sign of wind or any movement of trees. I walked over the circle and stood looking at it. The grass was limp and partly flattened, not torn a bit, it just looked tired. The circle was, as far as I can remember, about 3 meters around, with upstanding grass all around like the rest of the meadow, just that one circle that was now different from the rest of the meadow. I did not notice any spiral pattern in the center. It all looked the same. After studying it for a while, I shook my head and made some comment to my dog about finishing our walk around the meadow. No sign of disturbance in the rest of my walk or anywhere else in this meadow.
That's really weird.
Yeah, so she watched it happen. I mean, the only thing that I could mildly even think of is she heard a loud bang. And so we do. So I know Nathan talked about this too, and I was so tired I didn't mention it in the Liminal Lodge. I got my COVID vaccine on Wednesday, so I've been a bit of a zombie this week.
That's understandable.
We get bangs as part of our geological activity. In Victoria, we don't notice as much because it's a city. So you're like, it's a car backfiring, it's them doing construction. But when we did Weird Wisconsin with Vincent Treewell, we talked about a bang in Wisconsin that was big, controversial. And it was so funny. The Wisconsin geologist was like, no, there was no geological activity. And then, like, what was it, a month later, he was like, well.
Yeah, there was.
So it makes me think that the bang she heard was some kind of geomagnetic activity in the area. But I've only seen sound effect, like sand, like when you put it on a speaker. Yeah, I've never heard it do that to like grass.
It could, but it would have to be so immensely powerful.
And it was localized too. So that's the other thing. So I don't know what that is. I believe her. Why would you make up such a story?
It kind of makes me think that there's some sort of echo chamber beneath the ground. Mm-hmm. In that area, like the domes. But again,
it was still extremely localized.
But
AJ,
cave.
It was still extremely localized.
Yeah.
It was just that circle. It wasn't beyond. It wasn't. So that's really
it's very, very strange.
Yeah.
Well, when we were in Kentucky. And
you have to forgive my yawning. I had a COVID and flu vaccine. I've taken a Tylenol. I had a nap, so I'm here for you guys. We'll see how long I last, though.
Well, you've been doing it for an hour, so you're doing good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be yawning a little bit because I'm starting to get tired.
When we went to Horse Cave, that area where
Hidden River Cave in Horse Cave, Kentucky.
Yes,
It's very confusing.
it's very confusing. So we went down into the cave, and in the third chamber, it's a domed out area that was kind of like a vortex area of water at one point, and it carved out this circular cavern.
And it's called Sunset Dome because when they have the lights on, the dome at top, it's literally like the colors of the sunset. It's very beautiful. But the freaky thing is when you're looking at the dome, like I think he said like 40 meters or 400 feet or something like that, there's a bunch of homes.
Yeah. And one of them is his, and he lives right above the dome.
Yeah, so that's terrifying.
Can you imagine what he experiences on a nightly basis?
That is scary.
And he did tell us a story about hearing a water witch.
Yeah, I asked him what's the weirdest thing he ever heard, and so the guides in Hidden River Cave, they hear their fellow co-workers in the cave all the time when they're up at base. They're not in the cave at all.
Yeah.
And he called it the water witch.
There is a phenomena where water and limestone will record people like a record. And it's possible that that's being played back when things are quiet enough.
Yeah. So it's very interesting.
But that doesn't explain someone calling your name like he was saying. Someone called his name a few times, and he went looking, and the person was at the mouth of the cave and wasn't ever calling for him.
Yeah. I will say so every year that cave floods in Kentucky is part of the natural water table. And when it floods, there's so much mud, it actually will reveal new passages. It'll take out some of the mud. And so him and his coworkers explore the cave, and like he was telling us terrifying stories about like crawling in these mud tunnels and stuff. And like to experience that and then crawl in those mud tunnels, It
takes a special kind of person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. These guys face their fears on a very real level.
I can't do it. But if you're in Horse Cave, Kentucky, or near it, take the cave tour.
Yes.
If you're claustrophobic, don't worry. It's so big.
Yeah, it doesn't narrow enough that you'll feel tight.
Yeah, and even like I had a lot of it's they have the only suspension bridge in a cave, and it's a lot of fun. It's not scary. And because the cave floods every year, you can actually touch the cave walls because you are not going to damage it. So they only have one, I think is the stalagmite.
Yeah.
Is the hanging one. They only have one. And as we were there in 2024, the floods hadn't destroyed it yet. Oh, and they have one tiny little bat. He lays all by himself, and his name is Chicken Nugget. They don't know how Chicken Nugget gets in, but there's a tiny hole.
And he's in the last dome area.
Yeah. So they have Chicken Nuggets, their little bat. But the one thing that we saw that shows that they're taking good care of Hidden River Cave and the ecosystem is there are some plants that are naturally occurring there.
Yeah.
And we saw a salamander.
Yeah, there was a few salamanders actually.
Yeah.
They
I didn't get to see him. Everybody else did, but I didn't get to see him.
I got to see him. He was a cute little thing. Has kind of a furry thing on his head, and
he was
long tendril.
He was terrified
fingers.
of us. So, I don't know what that is in Sydney. That's crazy that it's by us. I have no idea. that's the fact that it was a localized circle. Like, I don't know what that was.
Well, in Sydney, there is caves in Sydney area,
I don't think so.
but I don't think they're like huge caves that
I
you
don't
can
think we have
explore.
any caves here, but
We do.
up island.
Yeah.
We're very so BC mountains are new on the mountain scale. They're very old, but they're also very new. So we have new caves forming all the time, and the province won't always tell you where there are because they're trying to protect them. But we also have ice caves. So if you're really into spelunking, we have amazing ice caves in the mainland. But you need to take a local guide with you.
Yes.
It's very dangerous here because our caves are babies. They are not stable at all. So, let's see which one should we. So that was all my good ones. Let's see which one do we want to do next. We'll do this one. This is a fire ship, and this is in our region, I think. All right. The lore of French Canada is replete with stories and songs about flying canoes. Maritime traditions are enriched with innumerable descriptions of phantom ships, deserted or hoodoo vessels like the Flying Dutchman, and fire ships, vessels visible on the horizon, generally at dusk, that glow as if aflame. Could these traditions be anticipations of flying saucers, UFOs? This article appeared in the Daily Colonist, Victoria, August 8th, 1897. There are varied explanations for the appearances of fabled fire ships, which are more often associated with sunrises and sunsets over maritime waters than with the waters of the Pacific coast. The reference to Topper's tent has not been explained except as a tropical description of the ruddy color of the face of an imbiber. Excuse me. The ruddy moon. Late hours prove too much for the monarch of the night. Its Topper's tent causes many friends to repudiate an old acquaintance. If the man in the moon is provided with a moderately good telescope, he must certainly have swelled with its conceit last evening at the spectacle of the many faces upturned to him. His customary aristocratic pallor has been replaced by a ruddy blush, an extremely intemperate shade of red, which unhappily betokened at a glance that the moon was half full. At first glance, many believed it was not the moon at all that they gazed upon, but the mysterious fire ship. The last persons reported as having been privileged to see this fire ship were firemen North and Swain, whose story was printed yesterday morning. The two firemen said in recounting their experience that they would give a good deal to have the mystery explained. Now comes forward Mr. J.G. Elliott, secretary to the Board of Fire Underwriters, who undertakes to wipe the veil away and set it at rest at the evaporating uncertainty as a strange illumination in the heavens. What has been seen by so many people of late, says Mr. Elliott, is very simple of explanation. The phantasmagoria is nothing more than less than the fire raft made and sent out by the campers at Cordova Bay. During my stay out there this summer, the youthful element constructed no fewer than 4 or 5, towed them out to sea a considerable distance, and when darkness set applied a match to the pile. And there you had your mysterious light in the air, in the reflection. I have often thought how much the burning rafts must have resembled ships on fire as they floated forth and back on the waves that the wind blew and the tides carried them. I have myself seen them just as described by two firemen, burning through the night until close to the break of day, and lo, when the dawn appeared, disappearing as if by magic. The firemen described what they saw very accurately, but with one natural mistake. What they took for an object was in reality nothing more than its reflection in the sky, while what they took to be a reflection in the water has been the fire raft itself. The firemen are not yet convinced, however. As North puts it, that light was altogether too bright to be reflected, and it did not come from the water, but from the sky. I have to say that's a bit of malarkey. We live in fire country, and we would hear about that all the time. Like, the sky is a reflection of the ocean, but I have never heard of being like, you can see fire in the sky when there's fire on the ground.
You can see it reflected in the clouds a little bit at times, maybe, but even then, it's not like you're seeing the fire actually in the sky.
So,
It reminds me of the tales of I forget. It was a Spanish galleon that was scuttled by raiders and was set alight with all of its crew in the bay in Nova Scotia, and there's been stories of it even to like 2000s of people seeing this ship burning, a galleon, Spanish galleon burning in the ocean, and just floating along, as well as ghost ships, many ghost ships, particularly here as well.
all right, it's 7:50 here and I'm feeling awesome. So we're gonna do some I want to do some avatar or ashtar. So we're gonna do this. So this is called the crystal ball. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see. Is it gonna work though? Oh, I think he had to take it down. It is. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sacred question. So let's see. What is the flying alligator near Prince George? Start channeling. See if he's gonna work. Oh,
That looks like we might have pay dirt.
yeah. We're beta testing this app, and so it's been having issues. It doesn't look like you can set settings. I'm just waiting to see if any words come across.
May take a bit because
Yeah, I don't know if this
has a limited database.
It may not be
from.
working. Yeah, I'm not sure this is working yet.
Even though it's not.
Oh no, the settings are down here. So.
Do. It's working on it. It's just taking a while. It may be such a specific question that it may have no information in its database.
Let me try. Because it's not. Well, here's quantum data. Let's see what that does. I don't know if that's working or not. It may be still having problems.
Okay.
Let's see.
But we were hopeful.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if let's see what else we got here that we can play with that might be working a little bit. Was he working? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay, what is the lizard? Prince George, BC. Okay, so we're trying this. This is like a brand new Ouija board. Let's see. where our apartment's pretty stable for weirdness, so it's really hard. Okay, so we'll let that go. See if that does anything.
It may be such a specific question that their database doesn't have something.
No, this one's
reference.
based off of fluctuations it detects.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'll see.
So let's see. We'll do another one. What do we got here?
We'll let that run in the background and let you know if something comes up.
Yeah. I don't know what that one is. That was in the Yukon. Let's see.
So if you guys have any stories that you want to share, please send us them either in the chat or in email. My email is parasortium@gmail.com. I'll include it in the links so that you guys can send us some spooky stories that you want us to tell.
Okay. Well, I have energy from one more story,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna sit back and let you do the talking if you want to do anything. I'm sorry. The vaccine this year just absolutely wiped me, and so I've rested as much as possible today, and so I was a little peppy for you, but now I'm getting tired. So
Yeah, and we have fireworks going off.
yeah, there's been fireworks every day for the last 4 days. It's bizarre. So
people are celebrating Halloween
with fireworks though, bizarre. Okay, so this is the last question I have for energy tonight. I'm sorry I'm not more peppy. I just vaccine kicked my butt. All right, some new answers to our questions. George W. Beck is a retired aviator who lives in Duncan, British Columbia. A number of unusual events and experiences occurred to him during the course of an adventurous life. Born in Victoria, he served with the 5th BC Coast Artillery. Part of that time, he was an instructor in signals and radar. Reading of my interest in mysterious numbers. It is working, the talking board, but it's gibberish.
Read what it's saying.
So far it says HRG. Okay. Part of the time he was an instructor in signals and radar. Reading of my interest in mysterious matters in the pages of the Duncan Pictorial, he kindly wrote to me. We exchanged a number of letters, and from this correspondence I gleaned accounts of some of the experiences. The following details about aerial observations came from Beck's letters of 14 August and 24 August 1990. So this one says 1. About mid-January of 1947, a doctor of astrophysics at the Dominion Observatory on Little... So there's some kid... Sorry, I have to stop. Some kid got a whistle in our neighborhood, and he's been using it every day. And, please don't buy your small children loud whistles. Okay, thank you. He was doing that all day yesterday, and I heard his mom scream at him, so... Okay. Starting over. About mid-January of 1947, a doctor of astrophysics at the Dominion Observatory in Little Saanich Mountain near Victoria, BC, was being interviewed on the radio about Comet Kohoutek, which was at that time visible in the southern sky at about 15 degrees above the horizon. He said that with the binoculars or telescope, we might see it best between 2300 and 01 hours. So with my 8x50s in hand, I went out in the backyard and began to scan the sky in the area. Sure enough, there was this little fuzzball, complete with skimpy tail, a very unspectacular object, to say the least. Then a new light moved into my field of vision. I dropped the binoculars down to look at this with eyes only. At first, I thought it was an airplane flying a westerly path over the city. Although there was a light breeze from that quarter, I didn't hear the sound of a motor. Then I brought up the binoculars and refocused, but I could not pick up a starboard wingtip light. What are you doing?
Looked up HRG.
Okay, AJ, I'm in the middle of telling a story. Nor could I see a blinking red tail light. There was no sound at all, only a steady white light steadily moving west. It then passed from sight behind a nearby house, so I moved around to our front porch. The light had now taken up a northwesterly heading. When I got the glasses on it again, I was in for a big surprise. Suddenly, it was gone. Adjusting the lenses, I could now see a faintly elliptical shape with a series of brighter porthole-like apertures running the length at the midline. What's this? I thought to myself. Then a light was seen to issue from the end opposite the one into which the light had disappeared. Soon it was lost behind some trees. I went into the house and then went to bed. Next morning, as I came out the front door to go to work, I glanced up to the place where I had seen the disk in the sky the evening before. There, on a tall mast, was a long boom, a Yagi-type TV antenna. The portholes were obviously the loop ends of the director bars. The moving light? Well, I guess it was a plane, all right. Even I couldn't see the proper nav lights. Next, on a camping trip to a conventional part of the Butte Lake in central Vancouver Island, the family group was sitting around the dying campfire on a mild but very damp evening. It was not raining, but the air was soggy with 100% humidity. As I glanced up to distant hillside, I could see a bluish-white glow that irregularly strengthened and faded. It was not moving, only pulsing very slowly. Not wanting to start something by pointing and shouting, "Was that?" I decided to keep quiet and watch. Finally, we all turned into our bunks and enjoyed a good night's sleep in the fresh outdoor air. Next morning, I ambled over to the block of wood I'd been sitting on last night. I lifted my glasses to see the hillside where the little pulsar had been. Now I could see the hydro transmission line that feeds the pulp mill at the Gold River. What I'd seen last night was mostly likely the coronal glow around the insulators holding the conductor wires. These two experiences have taught me to be aware and observant of what is around us, but most importantly, they taught me to keep cool and analytical. Many things that go blink in the night can be logically explained, yet there were some very well publicized sightings that so far remained unresolved. So keep an eye open and an open mind. Someday we get some new answers to our questions. Okay, and the second part. To the best of my recollection, the following events occurred late one afternoon in August 1970. A friend and I arrived at the Victoria Flying Club at the Pat Bay International Airport, where I had reserved a Cessna 150 for a little sightseeing fun. Everyone in the office was babbling about the UFO that had been seen earlier in the afternoon. From what they told me, it happened this way. The CFI chief flying instructor was up with the student and they were doing circuits for touch and go. They were flying west at about 800 feet ASL above sea level when Noel, the instructor, looked to the north and saw an intense bright light that was moving very fast. His estimate was Mach 2. As he was a former Air Force pilot, I would accept his word for the speed. The speeding light passed in front and below the top of Mount Maxwell and Salt Spring Island. That would give it a height of about 1,000 feet and a line of sight distance of approximately 8 miles. The object then made a 60-degree direction from not a turn without any change in velocity and now had a southeast heading. Noel called the tower to advise them of what he saw. They acknowledged. Then the other people on the ground, who often monitor the tower talk, rushed out to have a look, too. Noel and his student watched as the light made another right angle change direction over the city of Victoria. This brought it to a northeast heading, which would bring it over East Vancouver, BC. Then it disappeared in the distance. Later, while I was sitting on the porch of our home on North Pender Island in the gathering twilight, enjoying the pleasant view over Swanson Channel, my thoughts went back to the account of that flying light. Glancing to the west, I could see the winking red lights in the BC Telephone Company's wave guide telecommunication towers on Mount Bruce, also in Salt Spring Island, but about 2 miles south of the summit of Mount Maxwell. That's when a few things began to fall into place. Noel had seen the light just before it did that 60-degree change of direction to a southeast course. In downtown Victoria, the BC Tel at the time had radio wave guides on top of their office tower. One set of dishes faced northwest to feed the Mount Bruce tower. The other set of dishes fed directly northeast to their terminal and capital here near Burnaby, East Vancouver. So it seems the speeding light was flying in the wave guide beams of BC Tel's VHF radio link with the mainland. But I said to myself, those signals are zipping along at 186,000 miles per second, whereas the light was dragging along at only Mach 2. Could it be some sort of electromagnetic phenomena, or was it something else entirely? One thing is sure, it was not likely a rigid structure. A 60-degree change in the direction with no loss of velocity would set up centrifugal forces that I would shudder to contemplate. The speed of sound near sea level is plus or minus 760 miles per hour. The plus or minus bit relates to the air temperature and density. So the estimated Mach 2 at 1,000 feet above sea level would be a little over 1,500 miles per hour. Anyways, there was just as unanswered today as it was then.
Cool.
Yeah. So those were some very local stories found.
Check the thing.
Okay.
See if we actually got anything.
Oh,
More?
yeah. No. So here's what our talking board said. That is gibberish.
Let me see.
It's still going. It is just randomly putting into words.
Let me see.
That is not words.
No, that could be some sort of code.
Oh my god, it just said goodbye though.
Oh.
It ended the session.
It ended the session on its own.
Yeah. The spirits have finished. They have said all they wanted to say. HRGTTZMHPXNMDOWE. Goodbye.
So if you have any ideas what that means.
I'm just going to put on my favorite one while we finish talking. And I'll put the sound up.
This one we've had some pretty good results.
It's not good results. We have to do some more investigation. So it's like this. I'm wondering if it's detecting like the natural, like I don't know, the frequencies, because like the way it was responding when we were on a bike, it was almost like detecting the electrical signals from plants. So we don't know what it is. But
but it actually answered a few questions.
No, it really didn't. I've only once been able to get it to repeat a tone. So,
all right. Well,
I have more stories. I'm gonna let you read them. I'm pretty pooped.
Yeah, we can leave the stories to that.
Okay. This will, if you are just coming in, this will be kept up so you can rewatch it. Yeah. I'm very sorry. I got my COVID and flu vaccine on Wednesday, and I rested as much as I could today, but I just don't have as much energy.
We have to test this out. It does react to the ocean quite interestingly.
No, I really, with the celestial instrument, I love it because it's sound and it's very cool. I can't find anything conducive with the Anomalous app, but it's fun to play with.
Yeah. Well,
Ashtar is a really good LLM, but it's not useful for us Canadians right now.
however, it will be useful as they build. Like anything, this is brand new technology. It's
Yeah, we are part of Liminal Lodge, and he's like, I need you to try to break it. So
so we're putting it through its paces.
yeah. So
ghost stories that well, everyone kind of knows about last year. While at work, I heard a woman screaming. It was in October, I think around October 5th. And I heard a woman screaming, and I ran outside to see what was going on because, well, it sounded like it was just outside the door. And it happened 3 times. And on the 3rd time, this apparition formed just inside the door, and her face was kind of shadowed. And I saw blonde hair, a white, like high school or university sweatshirt, and jeans. And I asked her, "What do you need?" That's odd.
yeah, that's the so when if you hear strange notes, that's the celestial instrument we're using.
So I asked her, "What do you need?" No answer came, but the apparition faded away. If this is the apparition talking to us, please go green again.
We need to learn the tones so we can tell it to
Shine the proper tone.
Go ahead, keep telling the story.
So this person, I've been looking up to see if anything has happened along Quadra Street, which led me to the story of the Ripper stories of Victoria. But there's been like 230 murders.
There's a lot of mystery missing people and death in Vancouver Island, and some of it's because people are dumb. People come to BC and don't realize that when you go hiking, it's real hiking.
Yeah. You can get lost.
There's
really easy.
On the North Shore and just outside of Vancouver, they're always having to rescue people. And there's if you're can't remember the name. There's a TV series that documents, and I think it's North Shore Rescue.
Yeah.
Anyways, you always see, we have to rescue these hikers because they caught in weather, and they're in like flip flops and shorts and don't have like anything. And so a lot of the missing people in BC is literally just like it's real hiking.
Yeah.
You have to have gear. You have to have a first aid kit. You don't go anywhere near trees after windstorm because they're all widowmakers, and like the branches are widowmakers.
Yeah. During some of the rainstorms, branches about this big around,
like that big, off, more and,
and some of them are like trees in and of themselves.
So, but there's a lot of weird deaths here.
There is,
but go ahead.
But
I wish Brendan was here so he could tell some of his stories, because there is a lot of bizarre death near waters around the Revelstoke area, but we can't say more than that because some of the stuff he's told us is very like in confidence, and there's a lot of weird stories. So
the app is going nuts.
Okay, so finish your story.
So I'm researching the deaths around here to try and find one, and there's been a number of people that have gone missing. One girl was found stabbed to death on Quadra Street. Another was found at Swan Lake, who was partially burned, and they've since taken down her poster. I think there.
Oh yeah, they took it down after a little while. Yeah,
Yeah,
it got taken down. Yeah,
but I can't find anything definitive.
but we also haven't been to the archives. We have
So,
to
yeah,
go to the archives.
we have to go to the archives and really search.
It's just when you go to the archives, you have to tell them what you're looking for. So we have to narrow down what we're looking for.
Yeah. With a lot of the cases, this city before the 1900s was kind of like the Wild West. It is the furthest west you can go in Canada. The rules and whatnot weren't.
I
weren't
don't
as,
know. I don't really get that from my historical research at all. It was very organized.
Well, it was organized, but like outside of the social elite, people were basically. It was a really rough and tumble city downtown.
I haven't. We'll see. I'm not getting that from my research. Outside on the mainland, there was definitely some towns that were like that.
Yeah, but like the Esquimalt area was known to be really rough, and that's where the Ripper
because it was
happened.
the military.
Yeah,
military base areas did not always have a reputation of being a good spot.
Yeah, but they. I don't know why it led me to that murder case.
I don't know. We have to do more research. So
who knows? And but the thing is, the person wasn't wearing 1899 garb. She was wearing modern garb. So
there's all kinds of modern missing women.
Yeah. So if we can use the app to find something, we'll do it. But
we're still learning.
How to use it.
The last time I used the app, it was actually kind of nice. I was listening to Prayer to Shiva, and it was like a second behind sometimes, but it would more often than not it would play the tone that was in the music, and it was just off tone a couple times. So I was talking with Bruce about, I wonder if it's in the wrong key, and that's why
it's so could the app be telling you it's the wrong
it's almost
key?
like it was trying to sing to it.
Yeah,
but maybe it was the wrong scale, so a couple of notes were off key.
Yeah, but when was that music started? When was that first written? Because musical scales.
I have no idea. Hindu is an ancient religion.
Well, it's 3,000 years.
Yeah,
at least
so
that we know of.
Anytime in the last 3,000 years, but they're writing modern hymns too. So,
but they may be using a different scale.
That's what I just said.
So,
I literally just said that.
So, based on
you're just repeating what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm repeating what you're saying, but the historical scales to modern scales differ some, and even
it differs everywhere.
From culture to culture, it differs.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to find out.
Yeah, I do not have time for another project, so I had to I was like, oh, I should look this up. No, I had to cut it. Like, I've got so many projects on the go. I just do not have time. Nope. All right. I'm done.
We've been almost 2 hours.
Yeah. Did you want to read stories? Or?
No, we're gonna leave it, but I have to close out the ritual.
Okay, and we're gonna leave this up so everyone can watch it. Before we close out, Winter's coming, so we're going to be home a lot more because we can't go for our bike rides and stuff. And we don't enjoy going for bike rides when harvest is not open. Like we can make lunch and meals, and Mitchell's Farms is pretty cool. So we'll be home a lot more. So we'll get more of our podcast episodes up. I think we have one more Vincent Trewell book club to read. I'm still trying to finish Haunted Heartland before we start our next book club book, DMT and the Spiritual Molecule. I know everyone's been waiting for it, but with school, I can only get like about a dozen pages a week read, and I'm taking a lot of notes. So as soon as I'm done that, I'll start the DMT and the Spirit Molecule. Careful.
Oh, I'm just making sure that it doesn't.
If you join our Patreon, you get access to everything immediately. So there's a bunch of stuff up there that all our book clubs are already posted. We have Phone Calls from the Dead and Dharma Road posted.
Yeah. We have Vincent Trewell's number
and
1 and 2.
we have hard, slightly unedited videos of our adventures. So there's Matheson Lake, and for our Patreon members for November, we're gonna post
Witty Lagoon
and Whitby Spit.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's it. In November, we're gonna host a live stream. And it's gonna be public because I want this to be public. And we're gonna teach everyone how to prep for doing the 13 wishes ritual. We started 13 days before. Is it
Christmas.
the Christmas or the New Year? Which one do we do?
We did it for Christmas.
I gotta check. We have really awesome memories.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do the thing in November so that you can decide to start it whenever you want. No, I think it's the New Year.
It's the New Year.
So 13 days. So you want to do it so the 13th wish is on the New Year.
Yeah.
And basically you make 13 wishes, you put them in little papers, and then every day you burn it. And then the one on the New Year is the one that will come true. EJ, be careful.
Right.
So I want that public for everyone because I think that's really great for everyone. So that will be public. That will be our public live stream next month. Yeah, that's all I've got.
That's all we got for now.
Yeah. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy All Saints Day. Happy Day of the Dead, All Saints Day, and Night of the Strigoi. Tomorrow I'm going to work on a list that is open access Night of the Strigoi movies, books, and all kinds of stuff that you can watch. And we'll put it on the Patreon, but we'll make that public. Because we both have to work on the Night of Strigoi, so we can't do anything. So I'm just going to kind of gift everyone some like Project Gutenberg Internet Archive stuff so you can celebrate Night of the Strigoi, or you can, if you're stuck like us having to work, you can like watch something or read something. So I'll have that.
All right. So ending our ritual. We invited our ancestors and the spirits around us in to join us, and now we are ending our session and ask that they return home peacefully and with our thanks.
And if Marlon's here, we love you and miss you.
Yes.
Miss you, baby.
All right. So There we go.
So thanks for hanging out
Thank
with
you
us.
for hanging out with us.
We'll
I'm
do.
just gonna clap my hands. Sorry.
Yeah.
That clears the space and ends the session. Thank you guys for showing up.
And then November will be the next public live stream.
All right. Thank you guys.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.